I'm going to pass the beginning of this. Oh, and thank you for that, Alex. I'm going to pass the beginning of this presentation off to my colleague, Ashley Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashley Grant. I'm a grants management specialist with the OST team. Can everyone hear me clearly? Awesome. Awesome. So, welcome to the fiscal year 22 invitation only capacity building request for applications grant information session. Before we get started, I have a couple of housekeeping rules. We ask that participants in this session today just to keep yourself on mute, just to avoid any interruptions throughout the presentation. We do also ask participants on this call today just to hold your questions to the end of the presentation, or feel free to utilize the chat box to put your questions in the chat box in case your questions are covered throughout the presentation. And then we'll just jump right on into it. Okay, so the overview. So the fiscal year 22 invitation only capacity building grant invites applicants seeking to fund a specific capacity building project that will provide tangible outcomes related to organizational capacity. These funds will support core capacity building needs that help build strong and sustainable organizations. So the OST office. So funds available through these RFAs or requests for applications will be awarded through the Office of Out of School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes, also known as the OST office and the Learn 24 office, located in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Education, also known as the DME. And finally, grant awards are contingent upon the availability of funds. The OST Commission. So Learn 24 released these RFAs, in an effort to align with the Commission of the Out of School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes strategic priorities and to provide financial, technical, and educational resources to a wide range of OST providers, big or small, who've established trust within their communities and have experienced meeting the needs of their communities. Grantees will be selected based solely on the information that is supplied in the application. Organizations invited. So, two similar but distinct RFAs were released, intended for one, any current fiscal year and school year out of school time Learn 24 grantee in good standing, and two, any current fiscal year and school year small nonprofit Learn 24 grantee in good standing, as well as any nonprofit organization that applies as a subcontractor to Learn 24 grantees programming at DC Housing Authority and or Department of Human Services sites for summer 2021. Please be advised that only one application is permitted per organization. Funding amounts. So the OST office anticipates awarding up to $200,000 in total awards. So that's $100,000 for each RFA. Applicants may request up to $10,000, and then the OST office maintains the right to adjust the grant award amount. Capacity building projects. So applicants may utilize the funds for any project that will increase or strengthen the organizational capacity and must provide a tangible outcome. Below are a few examples of capacity building projects included, but are not limited to: financial management, internal operations, board development activities, planning activities, planning activities and technology improvements. And of course, these are just examples. So, in the event that your organization has a different capacity building project that they would like to tap into, you're more than welcome. But the list of the examples are the examples are these the types are just examples of what capacity building projects you can use. Sorry. Applicant eligibility. So current Learn 24 grantees are current school year or fiscal year Learn 24 out of school time grantees in good standing with a current audit if the grantee is going to receive more than $50,000 in grant funds in fiscal year 22. Organizations may not receive more than $50,000 in any fiscal year from the district without providing a clean audit that is conducted by an independent certified public accountant or CPA. Small nonprofit eligibility. So current Learn 24 grantees are current school year or fiscal year Learn 24 small nonprofit out of school time grantees in good standing with a current audit if going to receive more than $50,000 in grant funds in fiscal year 22. Again, if organizations may not receive more than $50,000 in any fiscal year from the district without providing a clean audit conducted by an independent CPA. So if an organization is not or organization is receiving more than $50,000 in grant awards, they must have a clean audit conducted by a CPA. That's for small nonprofit and regular applicants as well. Small nonprofit eligibility continue. In the event that the applicant is not a current Learn 24 grantee, that applicant must include a board approved organization annual budget, an IRS determination letter of a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is dated March the 7th, 2020 or earlier, a Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, also known as DCRA, basic business license that is currently valid, a DCRA certificate of good standing dated within the past year or no earlier than March the 7th, 2021. Also, the applicant must provide the Office of Tax and Revenue Clean Hands certificate dated within the past year or no earlier than March the 7th, 2021. And finally, 2 years of the most recently completed signed Form 990, 990EZ, or 990 in any schedules filed. Grantee expectations. So tangible outcomes are to be provided by way of a program final report. The program period may run from April the 1st through September the 30th, 2022. If part of the project will have any personnel interacting with youth, they must have a full background check pursuant to the original grant agreement, and those results must be entered into CitySpan. So I'm going to do a shameless plug here. We are doing a background check training next week, next Thursday from 1 to 2. So if you have any individuals that are interested, I definitely recommend to tap into that background check training that will give you more details on background checks and with regards to compliance of the grant award. I just want to throw that in there. Grantee expectations continue. So all conditions of the underlying grant agreement, if applicable, remain in full force and effect. Organizations must maintain and be able to provide documentation related to the grant for 5 years after the final payment. If any of the expectations are not met, Learn 24 may withhold payments or the grantee may not be eligible to receive awards in future grant competitions. Grant payment. So initial disbursements will be made for 60% of the grant award. The remainder of the grant award will be reimbursable only after the initial expenses have been verified. All invoices will be submitted directly into the DC vendor portal after acceptance and approval by the grant manager. All expenses must be verified and grantees must submit receipts, general ledgers, or other proof that expenses can be reimbursed. Indirect rates will be 10% unless a NICRA is presented. According to legislation, the negotiated indirect cost rate agreement allows any grantee to use a federally approved NICRA for any approved budget. In the event that an individual does not have a NICRA, the de minimis indirect rate is 10%. So the default is 10% if they do not have a NICRA. And again, grants are contingent upon the availability of funds. Grant fund limitations. So grant funds may only be used for the specific project described. Grant funds may not be used in conjunction with any other District of Columbia grants to provide the same capacity building program. So the grant funds cannot be used. They'll be considered double dipping. And I will pause here because I will pass it over to my lovely team member, Deborah Eichenbaum, to take on the second half of the presentation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ashley. And as Ashley said earlier, feel free to put any questions you have in the chat box if they come to you now, but we are just going to wait and get through the rest of this, which won't take very long, and then be able to take questions. So moving on to important information. Applicants may apply for up to $10,000 per application. Do not submit any documents that are not requested. They will not be reviewed. The audit requirement has been stated before, but it does bear repeating. If an audit has previously been submitted, there is no need to submit it again. If an organization, however, will receive $50,000 in fiscal year 22 and they do not have an audit submitted, they will not be eligible for this competition. So we understand that that means that certain nonprofit organizations are ineligible to apply for this capacity building opportunity. And to address that, the Institute for Youth Development is currently looking into the potential of a capacity building cohort that will support small nonprofits with financial management workshops, community of practice, as well as individualized technical assistance. The goal of this capacity building cohort will be to support small nonprofits and prepare them to become audit or financial review ready, or at least to know what they need to do in order to get ready. More information will be provided as the Institute finalizes details regarding this opportunity. Submission items. All of these items must be submitted by any applicant. The cover sheet, certificates and assurances, the narrative responses of no more than 3 pages, and the project budget. If the applicant is not a current Learn 24 grantee. So in other words, one of the organizations that applied to be a subcontractor for summer 2021 for a DCHA or DHS site, that's what this applies to only. They will also need to they will also need to submit a board-approved organization annual budget, an IRS determination letter showing that they've been a 501c3 nonprofit since at least March 7th, 2020 or earlier, the basic business license, the good standing, clean hands, and 2 years of the 990s. Every organization must be a nonprofit to apply for this opportunity, and the current operating budget must be under $250,000 if they're applying for the small nonprofit application. And this will be verified through the board-approved budget as well as the 990s. And the organizations must be nonprofits for at least 2 years. So the application overview. The cover sheet is provided in the application, but only as a reference. Please do not complete it and then try and upload it. The form itself is the reference, but it is completed in Seamless Docs when you open the application electronically. Then the certificate and assurances, you can also sign those electronically in Seamless. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also sign it separately and upload it, but I honestly am not 100% sure about that. And the narrative responses, that is definitely an upload of 3 pages. And please answer the specific questions asked. The budget must be included as well, and include additional documents only if required. About the scoring rubric. The rubric consists of 4 sections. In each section, there are different points for each of those sections. 1 point is unacceptable or did not respond. 2 points is acceptable. 3 points good. 4 points excellent. The checkboxes are listed in each criteria and need to be answered for the maximum points to be awarded. The scoring rubric. The scoring rubric has a total of 32 points. It is broken into 2 different sections. Project description, which consists of 6 questions for a total of 24 points, and budget, which has 2 questions for a total of 8 points. Review process. Applications are reviewed by trained reviewers. The application review will determine a final score that is then used to rank the applications. The scores and ranks are used by the OST office to make final award determinations. Any application that receives a score of 50% or less than the overall points will be deemed ineligible. All funding decisions are final and are not subject to review, appeal, or protest. I'm going to throw in, as Ashley did earlier on the background check training, which I definitely suggest anyone sign into, because it's going to be a really good overview, if I do say so myself, and very helpful, whether it be for your office staff or for your staff who does the actual inputting of the background checks. However, another shameless plug for reviewers. The OST office is always looking for people interested in reviewing grant applications. It is a critical part of our work. If you're interested, please email Learn24. Anyone with youth development experience in any capacity is welcome. They will receive training in how to properly use a rubric and our thanks, because this is a volunteer opportunity. Even if an organization is applying for a particular RFA, we always have multiple RFAs out, so a reviewer can review in a competition that the organization did not apply in. Anyway, whether it's you or someone else, please spread the word, consider reviewing yourself, and please let your colleagues and friends know. It's a wonderful way to be involved in the process, see other applications, learn more about the field, and actually be a part of the ultimate award decision-making process. Application submission. So please complete this application at the link provided. All applications must be submitted online. Paper and in-person applications are not acceptable. Please note that the application can be saved and completed at a later time. You have to create an account in Seamless, and the information is all there if that's what you need to do, but it's also all in the in the application, and you can just save the documents that you need on your desktop and then upload. Because all required documents must be submitted with the application. You can't submit some at one point and some at a later point. There is a 250 megabyte limit on each file upload, and the deadline to apply is March 7th at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to run through these next slides pretty quickly. This is pretty much what you'll see when you open up Seamless Documents. It is the application and the cover sheet. As I said, please complete the cover sheet online. The one in the application is just there for your reference so that you can prepare your answers and know what you want to write in there. The next is the documents that you will attach. It's the narrative questions, the budget, certificate, and assurances, which right there it says upload here. Okay. And like I said earlier, files can be uploaded, but they can be uploaded from your computer, a website, Box account, Dropbox, Gmail, Google Drive, if you have the technical ability to do all of that. Multiple files can be uploaded at once. And you complete the application by clicking the Submit and Sign button at the bottom right corner of the page. All items with a red asterisk must be completed for the document to be accepted. Completed application. Upload all documents individually. You will receive a confirmation via the browser as well as an email to the point of contact listed in the cover sheet. Keep the email and take a screenshot of the confirmation. If you don't know how to take a screenshot, you can always just use your phone and take a photo of that screen. If you do not receive confirmation, contact Learn24 within 24 hours, because without confirmation, it means we did not receive it, something went wrong, the application will not be reviewed. So, some frequently asked questions before we get to any of your questions. So what if I am a grantee and I need to submit, because this is reimbursement except for the initial disbursement. What if I lost a receipt or never received one? Then you will not be reimbursed for that expense. What if I can't provide a project budget? The application will not be reviewed because the project budget is a required document. What if my application is longer than 3 pages? Any additional pages will not be reviewed. It will literally be cut off at 3 pages. Anything else after that will not be reviewed. How will the selection process be done? Grantees will be selected by the OST office after reviews are complete. So we're going to go into questions now. If you have additional questions after today, please submit those by email to learn24@dc.gov. So I heard some beeping, but did not take a look. I don't even know. Okay. So do we have questions? Let's see.
Yeah, Deborah, I have a question.
Oh, great.
So the deadline to apply is March the 7th at 5 p.m. Do you think that I should wait until March the 7th at 4:55 p.m. to apply to begin my application?
Oh, I think you should wait till 4:59. Just kidding. Okay. The answer to that is no. We all know that this is the age of technology and technology glitches. Please apply as early as you can. Do not wait until 4:50 to start that application process, because if the application will close at 5 o'clock. If it is not in before that, everything, then you will not be, you can call us and you can say, but, I tried, and it wouldn't take it. It will not take it after 5 o'clock. So my suggestion is that you plan on getting it in by 3 o'clock, and that gives you 2 hours of, oh my gosh, something's wrong time. In fact, my real suggestion is that you plan on getting it in on March 5th, and it gives you 2 days as opposed to 2 hours. But
All right, so I got a real follow-up question. Then I also see a question from Jessica as well. So in the event that I start my application on March the 1st and I complete it on March the 1st, but then all of a sudden on March the 6th, I come in and realize that, oh, I messed up something and I need to resubmit my application. Is it okay if I resubmit my application on March the 6th? And if I do, should I notify the OST office? That way they know that I should be, or they should be reviewing the March 6th application as opposed to the March 1st application?
I'm pretty sure that in the TV shows, they say asked and answered for that one, Alex. Yes, that is exactly what should be done. You can submit early. You can then say, oh, wait, no, I actually don't like that answer and want to resubmit. Just let us know in an email, please. You can call us, but also then follow it up with an email so we have it in writing to remove that application dated whatever date and accept the application dated the other date.
Thank you. And then the question from Jessica Luskin. Can our total project budget be above the $10,000 max grant amount? And we request funding for a portion of the total capacity building project costs.
Yes.
Good question, Jessica. Thank you. Any additional questions?
Just like with any other program budget, even if your program is a school year program and our funds often do not, well, almost always do not cover the full program budget of what you are providing to youth. It is just a portion of that.
Another question, are consultants covered?
Consultants can be a part of your budget, sure. I mean, you know, like with many of the, hang on, let me just go back to, for example, in the slide 7 under the examples, maybe it is working to upgrade your website. For example, you would probably be hiring outside and working with a professional website developer. Anybody else? Because, you know, I don't think anybody minds having extra time back in their day.
I have a quick question. Should the program budget reflect, okay, I guess the best question is, what's the best way to reflect that the project may or may not be concluded by September 2022 if it's continuing to help build capacity? So if we're making long-term upgrades, for example, to our financial management and oversight systems, some of which may be technical, some of which may be kind of internal oversight and changes, is there a way that you'd like to see that reflected so that we're not kind of artificially showing that like everything is going to end by September 22, as opposed to this will support the larger project?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, as long as there can be a what's the word I'm looking for? In the project, in the final report, a tangible outcome. That's the word I'm looking for. Wow. As long as a tangible outcome can be shown, it does not need to be the final tangible outcome of this project capacity building project, because, you know, maybe it is the beginning of what's going to then be a 3-year capacity building project, something like that. But as long as there can be something tangible shown, absolutely, it does not need to be finite.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Alex, I think we can probably stop recording at this point.